Yup. We did it, baby. We did it. So this video will be a full guide on the Brighton Marathon, what you can expect when you arrive, when you should arrive, what happens when you start, what happens when you finish, the easiest parts, the hardest parts, the entertainment, the people, the atmosphere. I'll be talking about everything. I'll be talking about my general experience as well as the things that you will expect, such as parts of the run where you might be more likely to hit a wall, or places where I would suggest, you know, taking a gel or maybe grabbing an extra water bottle at some point, because sometimes it feels like the stands are so far away from each other. This video is also capping off the marathon training series that I kicked this YouTube channel off with. And it's a series that I'm really proud of, and you know, the amount of support and love I've received from you guys and the amount of donations that have gone to the British Heart Foundation has been really fantastic, and I couldn't thank you guys enough. But this is the end of this series, and later on in the video I'll be explaining what I'm going to do afterwards. But yeah, let's go straight into it. So when you arrive at the starting line, it's basically a big field. And the field is full of athletes, but also people who are supporting the athletes and people who are just there to support the event. So you don't have to be an athlete to enter this place. It'll have food and drinks and entertainment, you know, people talking over megaphones and stuff like that, as well as an information tent. If you feel like you don't know where you're going, like I did, I went to the information tent and got some very useful information as to where I was meant to go. I would suggest turning up at this place around 45 minutes before you're meant to start the race, just so you have plenty of time to get acclimatized and to get used to the atmosphere, as well as to just generally arrive, if that makes sense. Put your bags away, you know, get ready, take your clothes off if you need to, put new clothes on. Go for a wee, most importantly, because I seem to have needed it like 3 times in 10 minutes, just because I was nervous. And then they'll call out your colour, so depending on the time that you're wanting to get, so for example for me it was 5:30, 5 hours and 30 minutes. For you, if it's 3 hours or 4 hours, you'll be put in a different wave to me. So to my knowledge, the slower people are put in the last wave, the faster people are put in the first wave. You might not be in the last wave like me, I was in purple. So you'll obviously need to coordinate when you will arrive, because you'll get an email which will say that your start time will be this time, so then arrive 45 to an hour before that. And then when they call out your colour, you and all the other people within your wave will go to the starting line, which is basically, you'll be lining up and it goes real far back, so you might not even be able to see the starting line if you're way at the back. You'll all line up anticipating the start of the race, walking past the emergency urinals and thinking, maybe I should, because I've got another 4 hours left where I'm probably not going to be able to get one. But so the race will start, and then people will slowly filter out of the starting bay, I would call it, and you'll start walking, but you'll be able to jog by the time you're crossing the line, so you'll have no impact on your time at all, even though that wouldn't be a lot considering the length of the race itself. And as soon as you cross the finish line, there's a little tracker behind your number, which will be here, or here. It'll be attached to your persons either way. And as soon as you go past the start line, it automatically tracks you, and it'll track your time as well, because when you go past the finish line, it stops. So it'll say, you cross the start line here, the finish line here. For me, it was 4 hours and 56 minutes, which is something I was really proud of, considering that pace for me, especially for my first one. Especially for my first marathon, is not something I was expecting, but I am very welcome to. So from there, the race throws you right into the deep end. The highest and the hardest elevation is straight off the bat. You go straight up a hill as soon as you start, but naturally, thankfully, what comes up must come down. So you go down the hill, you come through this little bit of you come through this little neighborhood, and then you end up getting to the center of the city and going in towards the shoreline. Now the thing about the center of the city is, for me, this is the easiest part of the whole run, because the atmosphere and the support, you know, you've got people playing drums, you have people shouting, giving you support who you don't even know, they don't know you, but they just know that you're running, you're doing this feat of endurance. Once you've gone past that bit, you end up running up the shore. Now, this part has a nice view, which is, you know, to your right you can look, oh, the water looks nice. But there's only so much you can look to your right and say that the water looks nice, because you're on this road for a long time. So you have to go all the way up and then you'll go into this village. I can't remember what it's called, but you go into this village. This part is really uphill and downhill. So take it as it is. Listen to your body at this point. There's plenty of water and gels on this road, so you'll be able to hydrate yourself well. The only thing that I would suggest in this bit is if you don't want the wind to hit you real bad, because obviously you're getting the wind from the sea. If you don't want the wind to hit you so bad, I personally found it really good if you try to run close to a pacer, because basically the pacers are running and then people around them are trying to run at the pacer's pace. There's a huge group around the pacer, so if you try to get in the centre, not only will it be a little bit warmer, but also it's almost acting like a windshield, so you'll kind of get only second-hand wind instead of first-hand, which will be more powerful. After this, we go back into the city, and I personally got a second wind just because of the atmosphere, all the people cheering you on. It's actually a really big help, which is something I didn't really expect, but it really was. So you go into this bit and then you end up going down towards the beach. Now, this is kind of a long straight, this part. If, for example, if you're like me and you're running for a charity, on the way back there's a bunch of charitable booths. And let's say for me, I've been running for charity for British Health Foundation. There's like a little British Health Foundation booth. There's only like 6 or 5 people in there, but they'll give you this huge cheer when you run by, which helps so much. It's awesome, it's really, really good, it really helps. That was actually one of my favourite bits of the whole run, was that long run there and then the long run back down by the beach after the really long one. Not only because of the charitable booths, but there's also a bunch of music going on down there. It's got a real vibe on that part. And then you end up going down, you go up. So when you go up to this bit, this is the part that I was worried about. So when me and my mum watched an original video of the track, we watched the whole thing, and then my mum thought it was over basically halfway. She was like, oh, that's fine, that's fine. I knew it wasn't. But this part is where you go into Hove. Now, Hove is the difficult part in my opinion. Hove is this long road. For me, it just feels like a bonus bit. It feels like an extra part of the run, if that makes sense, just to make up the kilometres. Because you're just going through this neighbourhood, there's like almost nothing there, it's just houses left and right, and there's this huge road. And the thing is it's so packed with people that you can't see when the road ends, because it goes up, then you can't see. So you don't know how long you're on this road for, you probably don't know where you are, you've probably never been there before, you don't know when you're going to turn back. And it's at this point where I saw the most people hitting the wall. I saw the most people starting to walk, starting to bend over, just people stopping, people doing stretches by the side of the road. This, I think, is probably the most difficult part. For one reason or another, maybe everyone has their own reasons, but this is what I feel like is the most difficult part. But this part is really heartwarming for me, because instead of there being stalls for example, Buxton Water, which must have sponsored the event, or the gel company 5 or something, I can't remember what it's called, you'll have just people who are just spending their hard-earned money. And they've taken time as well, because they'll just have oranges. They'll have a bowl of oranges glistening in the sunlight. It was like they've been sent down from the heavens when I first saw them. It's like a third of an orange that they just sliced up, put in a bowl. Just with the thought of these people are running past my front door. They're running past my front yard. Trying to do this incredible feat of human endurance. Taking on this huge challenge. I'm gonna help them in any which way I can. Those people having apples, oranges was the main one, which was so good. Apples, oranges, gummy bears, Haribos, stuff like that, stuff that really good sugar sources to just keep you going for the short term, because at that point you're almost at the end. When you turn the corner and you know that how long that road was that you just ran down, and if you turn that corner, you're on the straight, the finish line, basically. You're not quite actually on the straight, but you know that you've finished that last segment now. It goes in and out like this a little bit until you actually get out of Hove. Once you're out of Hove, then you're really towards the end. The final segment of the run is really great. I mean, it is hard. Naturally, it is hard. I didn't hit a wall, thankfully, throughout the whole run, but I will say towards the end what I was starting to do was I was almost using it as like a tempo run. So what I was doing was I was running faster than the sub 5 paces, and then I would run and I would walk, wait for them to almost catch up to me, and then run further, walk, wait for them to almost catch up to me, run further. That's kind of what I was doing, just to recharge my batteries. And then towards the end, they were actually quite far away, and it was towards the finish line. I walked for a little bit, just by the coast, and then I ran for the last bit, because I thought to myself, I'm not going to walk. I'm not going to walk over the finish line, especially when it's so crowded by the finish line. You can barely get a head in over there. You can barely get in to the front of the barrier. It's so busy. There's so much support. There's so much love over on that bit. I mean, for me, when I was running past the finish line, I kind of just thought to myself, like, oh, like, I don't know, like, that's it. Which I think is a mindset thing. Everyone will be different. Some people will be like me when they run over it and just go, oh, that was it. Finally, I don't have to train anymore. Whereas, you know, some people, my girlfriend was telling me, my mum was telling me, that some people were just like crying after the finish line. And that's completely acceptable as well, because it's a huge achievement. Knowing all your training had paid off, knowing all the hard work you'd put in hadn't gone to waste, was a great feeling. And after you cross the finish line, you receive your medal, if it wants to focus on the medal at any point. Yep. You get your medal, you get your finishers t-shirt, and that's basically it. They kind of just send you on your way. Now, for me, I went to the British Heart Foundation little charitable tent. You know, it's not too fancy, but I managed to get some water and like an oat bar and a little bit of chocolate, and that was perfect. And a seat, thank God, a seat. That was perfect for me afterwards, and you get to meet all your people, you know, you get to see everyone, give everyone hugs, and you know, to see everyone there, to see all the people who had seen your training is super emotional. The people who were there for me on that day were super proud of me, and you know, it was a super loving kind of environment, which was, you know, super sweet. You know, it was a really great day. And you know, ultimately I couldn't have done it without them and without you keeping me accountable. These YouTube videos have been huge for my training in terms of, you know, I've intended to upload a video a week, which means I have to do the weekly training, if that makes sense. You know, you guys keeping me accountable, showing me love and support, and donating to the charity, which was huge, and it's actually something I'm really proud about. That was really great, and I couldn't be more grateful. We've now gone over the limit, which is fantastic. So thank you so much to everyone who's donated, and thank you so much to everyone who's liked, commented, subscribed, you know, pushed the message out there. Is really, I'm really grateful. Now, I'm not going to stop YouTube. I really enjoyed working on these videos, and releasing them was a huge part of my training. I believe this part of my life, in terms of running and doing this much cardio, that chapter is closed, I think, but I'm going to go back to the things I really loved, which was, you know, weightlifting and building a really nice body. You know, my intentions have changed, and I think my purpose now is towards trying to build up my body and build a little more muscle, and genuinely get better in the gym and get more knowledge of the whole thing. So if you're interested in that, as well as general mental and physical health, please, you know, continue following, subscribe if you're not. And if you don't, that's fine as well. You know, if you were here for running and cardio, it's okay if you don't want to continue. Or if you were just here for my marathon training, that's fine. But I'll continue uploading videos. If you'd like to stay and watch, that would be fantastic. And yeah, thank you all for the support, love and guidance, my peoples. Love you.